Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Narayanam Pretamam Sannamami Bhuya Tattva Nirnayaya Bhagavan Ananda Tirtho Munihi Vishvesha Tirthaya Namo Namaste. So I would be speaking on the ethics and metaphysics of the imperatives in Dvaita philosophy. It is a co-authored paper. So I have my colleague Vidwan Vishnuvardhan with me. So he would be speaking the last 7 minutes. So he would be speaking in Sanskrit about the problems in the fruition part of it. So, I mean, it was kind of provocative, the previous lecture was, so it actually shifted my certain thoughts from this paper, what I wanted to do. The concern of ethics has been the word itself says it's a scientific study of ethos. So what is it that the ethos care about? Does it care about, as the Platonic world spoke of, the virtuous character, or does it speak about the duty, that what the deontological problem what Kant puts forward, or does it care about the end result of an action? So what does it care about? So how Tattvavada or Dvaita philosophy, which was propounded by Ananda Tirtha, Acharya Madhva, who hailed from Udupi, where right now I'm working, the Manipal University is located. So we have also an exclusive Dvaita center. My colleague is the associate coordinator for the center. So what the Dvaita philosophy or Tattvavada speaks about action or Kārya or Akārya. Of course, we all know it very well. The whole day, many people have referred to it as the Krishna himself very much suggests in the chapter 4th, Kim Karma Kimakarmeti Kavayopyatra Mohitaha, and Akarmanascha Bodhavyam, Karmanascha Bodhavyam, Bodhavyam cha Vikarmanaha, Karmanascha Bodhavyam, Gahana Karmanogatihi. So he has spoken that it's not so easy to understand what is Kārya. So the word Kārya, linguistically speaking, it actually opens up two dimensions. One, as an effect in causality. In another sense, that's from a metaphysical standpoint. In another sense, the same, if that there is an agent behind that effect, then it opens up the ethical paradigm also. So in case of, if there is in the case of ethical paradigm, how do I know what should be done, what should not be done? So both of them are actually, in a way, one of you also asked this question, what is the difference between the do and the don't? Both of them in a way are the do's only. If I say you don't do it, means you do the opposite of it. You don't engage in it. Okay. So how do I know what should be done and what not to be done? How do I know what is the imperative? So Krishna, as again people quoted today, Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Kārya Kārya Vyavastito. Why Shastra is Pramana? If Shastra is not Pramana, then what happens is that you won't accomplish anything. That is what Krishna has already told, Nasasiddhi Mavapnoti Nasukam Naparangati. But it is very difficult to understand what is action, because in Mahabharata itself, it says, Dharmasya Vachanam Shreyaha Dharma Jnanam tu Dushkaram. It's easy to speak about you do this, you don't do this and all. But realizing it, meta-ethically, understanding what is an action is really a very difficult task. I already lost 4 minutes, so I have to skip a lot of portions. Also, Arjuna has this question, is that if you are saying the entire Dvaita tradition, such as Raghavendra Tirtha Swami and others, have explicitly commented on this part in Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna says, Durena Hyavaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya Avaram, means the path of action is somewhere, as most of the Vedanta scholars have interpreted, is somewhere path of action is somewhere inferior compared to path of knowledge. But actually the Dvaita tradition does not vouch for this view, is that, say, everyone has this desire of liberation. What do we call liberation, salvation, emancipation, mukti, moksha, nirvana, apavarga and all? What is that? It's only two things. One is anishta nivritti, ishta prapti. What is anishta? Ajnana dukkha, that is anishta. Free from that. Ishta prapti, what is ishta? Moksha. What is that? Jnana ananda. What is our own our own genetic makeup? The conscious entity, each and every conscious entity as the Vedanta describes, are made out of jnana and ananda. So that is what we are. We just want to experience that. But why doesn't it happen? It does not happen because we do not have the proper wisdom. Why do not we have the proper wisdom? Because our experience, we cannot perceive the past, we cannot perceive the future, we can only perceive the present. And if at all we want to communicate with the past and the distant space and distant time, the only way we have to go take refuge in rationality. But rationality is bounded, and also it's not just bounded, it's also sometimes it's straying, as the Upanishads very clearly say. The logic you cannot, the more intellectually capable you are, the logic is in your hands. So it's very difficult for you to judge what you should do and what you should not do. So then how you have to overcome this challenge? You have to go to Tesham Dukkha Prahanaya Shruti Pravartate. You have to take the refuge in the literary texts such as canonical literature, Vedas and others. But those Vedas, sometimes they say you engage in knowledge more, wisdom more, because this action, it's very customary behaviors, etiquettes and protocols, ritualistic, religious rituals and so on. It's all binding in one way or the other. There is no way that we can escape this misery, because the Upanishads themselves say karmana badyate jantuhu vidyaya cha vimuchyate. So then the path of knowledge, where I need to understand who am I and why the hell I am here, why I am suffering, why I am unable to get out of this. So to understand this, what I have to do is I have to know what is to be done. Okay. So because the action is, if I undertake a wrong action, then I will be bound here. Okay. It could be the spiritual judgments, such as the soteriological judgments, such as Naraka, Swarga, or other afterlives or so on, or even the social one. Even here, if I undertake a wrong action, then I'm answerable to the legal system and so on. So what I'm supposed to do? Yes, of course, there are certain prescriptive actions. Most of Indian philosophers have, in the past, in the present, look at the Shastras as very deterministic in nature, one. And another thing is that it is also, in one sense, it's always telling, it's prescriptive in nature. It is not giving you the autonomy of free will. Is it the case with the Shastra? I'm actually deviating from the certain points that I have written, because already I have only 7 more minutes. So if I look at, if we look at Bhagavad Gita very carefully, it is also, we are all, many of us are faculty members, professors and so on. So what happens if we, teachers and all, parents also, when they train their children, when they teach their children and they underperform, they get on our nerves. Okay, we are unable to, even our own mates or the colleagues, when they don't do the work properly, we get on our nerves. Okay, everyone has gathered. Look at the beauty of the dichotomy of Kārya and Akārya, how Krishna tackles this. So everyone, 7 Akshohini Sena has gathered, and it's just about to begin the battle. At that point of time, Arjuna is in the confusion whether I'm supposed to fight or not. Is it Kārya or Akārya? Am I supposed to do this or not? Now, Krishna, look, it's very difficult to believe that in the battlefield, there was really scope for this kind of spiritual discussion. And nowhere Krishna directly responds to him. He takes almost 17 chapters of 650 verses to respond to Arjuna. And also not everything is spoken by him in those 650 verses. In this also, what Krishna at the end remarks is also very important aspect. So he says, it's a seed for epistemological thought. So what Krishna says is that, look at how Krishna intertwines epistemology and ethics. So Krishna says, see, whatever I'm supposed to tell, I have already told. Now you don't fight because I have told you. You have to engage in your action by yourself. You should not come on later and tell me, because you told me. We do this in our work, in our school. Because you told me to do this, I didn't do this properly. If I had done by myself, I would have done it better. Krishna says, you don't do this to me. Okay, I am here to provide guidance, counseling. Undertaking it, I'm a doctor. I will prescribe medicines. But if you, without acquiring MBBS, you want to go to the counter and tell them, no, 10 medicines I don't want, I only want 5 medicines. The applied ethics. If you want to do it in your own way, you do it. But the pala will be yours. You cannot come and question me tomorrow. So Krishna says, Vimarshaita dasheshena yatechasi tatakuru. You do the way you want. That we would have, if our people had not performed better, we would have gotten a lot angry. But Krishna is not like that. He says, even if you want to take a call, go home, fine. But you have to take the right call. How can we take the call? Can our experience help us? Madhvacharya, interestingly, the Vedanta people, they all love literature, particularly Vedic literature. For them, Vedas is everything. But Madhvacharya says this in Vishnu Tattvanirnaya, Nacha anubhava virode agamasya pramanyam. If your ears are far away, distant from your eyes, then Agama is not Pramana. So Agama cannot, then what is that? Krishna told Shastram Pramanante Kārya Akārya Vyavasthito. Madhvacharya says Agama cannot be epistemological tool for judging certain things. Is Madhvacharya contradicting himself in other texts, or with Krishna, or with the entire Vedanta tradition? No. What he means by Anubhava here in his Brahmasutra Bhashya, he clarifies Shastrartha Yuktanubhava Pramanam Tuttamam Matam. The experience that is Yukta, logically validated. Okay. Yukta, Yukti Yukta Anubhava. Yukta Anubhava with the help of Shastrartha. So you have to read your own school, other schools, and then come to a conclusion. Okay. You have to make that choice. You have to make that rational decision of the interpretation, and then you have to act or enact. So Madhvacharya has elaborately, my colleague has to speak. So Madhvacharya has elaboratedly spoke in 6 to 7 texts. The texts are Sadachara Smriti, Tantra Sara Sangraha, Krishnamrita Maranava, Om Tat Sat Pranava Kalpa, and so on. In 7 texts, very voluminous works out of his 50 works. What he has done, he has given a detailed of all, like any other Vedanta scholar, what you are supposed to do, what you are not supposed to do. Shankaracharya has posed this very beautiful view in his Bhaja Govindam, says, Samprapte Sannite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. So you go behind linguistics, logic, philosophy of language and all, it's not going to help you out at the time when the time comes. So Madhva says, whatever you do, so he says that Dharmenejja sadhanani sadayitva vidanatah snatva sampujayet vishnum vedatrukta margatah smritva sarvottamam vishnum swadhyayen archayet dharim dhyana pravachanabhyam va yata yogyam upasyatam. So he speaks about what Upanishad says, swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam tadditapas tadditapa. That is your action. But he says there is a bigger action than that. What is that? Is your moral, social responsibility, not corporate social responsibility. That is for business purpose. That's useless, to be honest. That's a charity run for namesake, just for behind their own names. It is individual social responsibility. It's public social responsibility. What Madhvacharya says, there are 2 things that for you, whatever you do, even you do for yourself or for others, you will be the one who will be reaping the fruits. Kurubungshocha karma nijam niyatam. He also says, very interestingly, Nana Janasya Shushrusha Karmeti Karavanmitehe Yogartinatu Sakarya. We are Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam. We are living in the house of the God. He has, she has created the whole universe. Okay, Vishnu is the supreme being. He is not bound by gender. So he's Mohini, he's Narayana. He is not bound by anything. There is no gender barrier for him. That is why Vishnu Sahasranama starts with Vishwam, not with Vishnu. Okay, Vishwam, Vishnu, Rashatkaro. So he's neuter gender, he's masculine, there are no any kind of limitation in Vishnu. Now, what you have to do, you are living in his house, your action is that you have to pay taxes, rent, monthly rent. What is that? Nana Janasya Shushrusha. Tasya pranyupakarena santushto bhavatishvaraha. You help everyone. 15 minutes are over. I'll try to take 1 minute and then conclude it. Not conclude it, I'll pass it on. So what Madhva says interestingly is that we all have this behavior. Padma Purana criticizes this behavior. So how our ethics is, see why we eat, I'm not offending anyone, we eat anything and everything, okay? But why we have not resorted to the cannibalistic practices? You know why? Because humans are very clever. If we start that, one day we will be on someone's table. So we to avoid that, what we have done, we do everything that is good for us, and whatever that is not good for us, we will either we'll go to a coconut shop, ask them, what is this coconut? 15 rupees, okay, for house. What is this? 5 rupees coconut, then for temple. That's how our behavior is when it comes to dana and all. That is what we do. Actually, what Padma Purana says is what the essence of Madhva's philosophy. Padma Purana says, Shruyatam dharma sarvasvam, Shrutva chaiva vedharyatam, Atmana pratikulani nakadapi paresham na samachare. Dharma is that what you are going to do to yourself is what you have to do to the other. That is what is Kārya. That is what is karma. That karma is asakti karma. Asakti karma means you are not going. See, this is a very brilliant idea in what Krishna says is that don't focus on result, focus on action. Because if I focus on result, what I will do, I want to get this, I want to get this, I want to get this. I will focus on what I want, but how I will achieve that part I will forget. So focus on what you are supposed to do. The fruit will be by default. The moment your action is effective, the fruit will be by default. So the entire Vedanta tradition, particularly Madhva tradition, follows this Gita's philosophy and the entire Itihasa Purana category philosophy. What is, in Professor Panneerselvam's word, what is the categorical imperative, the Kantian term? The categorical imperative is that you follow Shastras after churning the Shastras, after ruminating the Shastras, and then you make that rational decision. That's why Krishna told you do what I have told everything. Now it is up to you. That is what our action is. That is the ethical imperative. What we are supposed to do for ourselves, that is what we are supposed to do for the world. Not that we segregate ourselves, make it very self-centric, and don't care about the world. That is the Akārya, and this is the Kārya.